Well, there is a lot of interest in the youth vote in this election. As we know, that voting bloc saw the biggest increase in voter turnout of any age group in the last election. But will it happen again? Will they stay engaged? What are they watching for in tonight's debate? Let's find out. 3 young voters who have yet to decide how they'll vote join me now. Sila Kilinc is a third-year animal biology student at the University of Guelph. Hello. And with me in our studio are Emily Bird, a second-year student in global studies at Carleton University, and Soumaya Marhnouj, is a third-year student in conflict and human rights studies at the University of Ottawa. It's good to see you all. Thanks for being here. Let me start, if I can, by asking each of you, and Sila, maybe I'll start with you. How closely have you been following the campaign? Is it been the kind of campaign where even if you weren't paying that close attention, you were hearing enough about some of the ideas that you said, I better find out what they're talking about? Are you there yet?
I feel like for me, it's a little weird because I have a lot of schoolwork and I don't keep up with it a lot, but I have roommates that do. So usually at the house, we sometimes talk about how things are going on and how it's affecting us. And I'll be like, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. And then we'll proceed, you know?
Sure, from there. So you're getting kind of some information through the through
my friends,
through the peer network.
Mostly, yeah.
Soumaya, how about you?
For me, it's a bit of both. So I'm taking conflict studies and human rights, and we do have politics classes. You know, we discuss a lot of issues in class. So I kind of get the academic side of politics, but then also I try to keep up mostly through social media. Checking the news here and there, and then also the same thing. You know, talking with peers, talking with adults, my parents, family, friends, just kind of the overall network of people that I.
Right. So it's more of an informal kind of engagement at this point. And Emily, how about you?
I would agree. I have a lot of different news apps on my phone and stuff like that, so I'll often get a notification with sort of an interesting headline and then look further, read the article, look into the specific issue that it's talking about. And then also I'm in global and international studies, so it's the same kind of thing where I'll often chat with other people in my program about what's happening.
Have the leaders been addressing the kinds of issues that you think are important as young people? Soumaya, I want to start with you.
For me, I think sometimes they do. Sometimes they, listen to issues we do talk about or issues that concern us. But I think because the young people in general have such a broad variety of things that they care about, and things like concerns, maybe my concerns aren't the same as Emily's concerns, or
this notion that young people only have a very narrow set of concerns is kind of at the door, right? You have the same different concerns across many different issues, right? Emily, how about you?
I totally agree. I think that the youth vote as being one sort of voting block is kind of misconstrued. I just see so many different opinions. So I think it's really just if people our age are just seeing what matters to them personally in all of the leaders. I know myself, I would agree that sometimes I think that they're talking about something I would be interested in, but I do think that there are certain things I'd like more attention to be paid to.
Sila, how about you? When you are paying attention, are you hearing things from leaders that are important to you?
I definitely agreed with Emily. Definitely, sometimes there are moments where I'm like, okay, yeah, they are talking about the issues that I am concerned about, but sometimes there are moments where I'm just like, this is not interesting for me,
Yeah. Is there anything that's really inspired you so far in the campaign? I mean, is there anything you've gone, wow, that's a big idea. That's the kind of thing that, as a young person, I want to see for the future of my country, or has that been missing?
I would say one thing for me that I'd really like to see more of is chatting about electoral reform. I know that was something that was seemed to be more on the table in the last election, and then that didn't end up happening. And I know a couple parties have that on the table for their platform in this election. So that's one thing that I would really love to see more of, and if people could kind of chat about that in the debate, that would be really interesting to me.
How about you, Soumaya? Any big ideas caught your attention?
Yeah, for me, this election so far, no big ideas have caught my attention. Nothing has been, this is really, really standing out, and that maybe just, me not following up as closely as, I want to, or as I should. But
you're not alone.
I do think
people in a lot of age categories have said there's been no big idea and nothing that really
and I feel that it's just, back and forth between the different leaders and the different parties, but nothing that's been okay, this has got my attention, this has grabbed me.
How about you, Sila?
Oh, it's the same for me. I haven't been keeping up with it for like that close. So it hasn't caught my attention where I'm like, okay, yeah, this is a problem that I also agree with, you know.
What do you want to hear from the leaders in this debate tonight? Is there something that, as you sort of try to make your way towards a decision at the ballot box, what is it you're hoping to hear?
I'd really just like to hear the pure platforms of the parties. I think sometimes in the debates, the leaders get focused on maybe attacking one of the other leaders, or kind of focusing on what has been done in the past. And what I really want to hear is what their specific plan is for the future. So somebody who can do that well in the debate would be kind of who wins that.
So maybe a more time spent on debating ideas and proposals as opposed to attacking ideas and proposals. How about you?
Yeah, for me it's a similar thing, and I think that one of the issues with this election are just like undecided voters and people who aren't sure about the parties or the platforms or whatever. I think that it's really important that the debate is a chance that we can actually see what they're promising. We can see clear ideas, clear proposals, and I think that for just the regular, average Canadian sitting down and watching that debate, they should kind of get a clearer idea of what each party stands for.
Yeah, I'm not sure you'll get that tonight, but we'll keep our fingers crossed. So, Sila, how about you? I mean, what do you want to hear?
I definitely agree with the girls, and I want to hear clear ideas and what they want to do in the future for us, for the youth, for everybody in Canada, versus trying to attack each other and be like, hey, you do this is bad, Yeah,
so you want to hear, again, as we've talked about, a kind of a broader discussion about ideas and what might be proposed. Listen, when you talk to your peers, what are you hearing? I mean, as I mentioned, we saw a big jump in youth voters in the last election campaign. Is it your sense we'll see it again, or are some of your friends less engaged than maybe they were?
I think that we'll see that again, at least from the people that I'm chatting with. I'm hearing that people just really want everybody to go out and vote. And I know a lot of people, even on social media, have been posting I don't care who you vote for, but just go vote, exercise your right. So I do think that we'll see a good turnout again in this election.
When your circle of friends you're talking with, Soumaya, what do you hear?
For me, similar thing, but what I see so much on social media, and I think that that's just kind of a good indicator that people are still engaged, still keeping up. And obviously it's a bit saturated or not 100% facts, but I do think that just keeping the youth engaged and keeping them in the know, in the circle, and when peers are posting about things, you're more likely to read it versus your aunt on Facebook posting it. You're not as interested in reading the entire their entire post. You'd be like, okay, this doesn't reflect me or reflect my values. So I think that the youth are actually taking things a bit more seriously and interested in voting. So,
Sila, in your conversations with not just folks in your not just your roommates, but in your broader community there in Guelph, student community, what do you think? Are young people going to be just as engaged this time around?
Yeah, I feel like definitely they're going to be more engaged because for this election we're being more affected on the post-secondary related issues. So mostly students are going to be like, okay, I need to, go and vote because this is my right. I want to study, and there's going to be funding cuts for universities, and it affects them as much as me. So the voting will probably increase. That's what I think. And that's what me and my friends mostly talk about too, how OSAP is getting cut and how some people cannot afford to go to school anymore.
Okay, let's finish on this then. In the end, what will decide your vote? I don't necessarily need you to pick a party. What I'm saying is, what will decide your vote is it a local candidate? Is it a key issue? Is it the notion of strategic voting if you look at how the numbers are shaking down? What will ultimately make you decide the way you want to vote at the ballot box?
I think for myself, I'm obviously going to watch the debate tonight and see how that works out, and it might influence my decision, but I think ultimately I'll be looking at my local candidates and sort of what their history has been, what their background is, what they believe in, and making a decision based on my local riding.
Soumaya?
Yeah, it's funny because I believe that too. I do think that local candidates have a huge impact in who I'm voting for, and that's just because I'm more likely to see them a lot, see them right now as they're coming, door to door and like talking to us and actually getting a firsthand impression. But I think that key issues is also going to have a big play in my decision. But yeah, I think something needs to stand out for me to make my choice.
And
Either way.
And so far, it really hasn't. Is that you're saying you sort of haven't seen the one thing that makes you go, okay, now I know.
Exactly.
And maybe we'll see that tonight in the debate. I don't know. Sila, final word to you. What'll decide your vote in the end? What one or two things will help you decide where you're putting your X on the ballot?
For me, it's mostly if the parties speak to my values and my moral compass, Peter.
Okay, that's an important mover for you. Is that it?
Definitely, yes.
Okay, well, I hope you all get what you're looking for in the debate tonight. That's supposed to be what the debates are for, and hopefully that's where we end up. Thank you all for your time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.